Greek mythology. We've all heard of these fascinating and most f***ed up stories. I've always had an interest in them. Long ago, when I was still a child, I tried reading this Greek mythology book that was way too complicated for my small brain. It didn't get better. My small brain, I mean. But my interest is still intact. And I discovered this when I was recommended Lore Olympus on Webtoon and became obsessed. So I was more than happy to see that the next book on my TBR was going to include some of these Greek gods. That book is The Crown of Death. The Crown of Death is a middle grade book that uses some Greek myths as a background for an original story following 3 teens trying to save the world from an evil god. A story of revenge, of friendship, a fun adventure, but also a weird one. Certainly weirder than the title of this video. What's that? You don't get it? Oh, well, I was unable to pronounce a certain name like, say, an American would, and I did it my way. So, for no reason at all, I'm going to pronounce all character names in a very, very French way. Enjoy! The story. The premise is super good. Mixing the real world with the myths is always interesting to me, and the story here was great. That being said, I struggled a bit with it at first. That's mostly on me though. For some reason, I treated the book as YA, so I expected more fleshed out characters and higher stakes. I didn't really like how the characters' powers manifested out of nowhere at most convenient moments. In addition to that, there were little misspellings here and there, and some scenes could have been cut or used better. I think the book could have used some more editing, though I'm saying this from a reader's perspective. I'm no expert. All of this to say, it's only when I stopped taking the book so seriously that I started enjoying it. There were some ridiculous situations that cracked me up, and the witty narration went very well with them. One of my favorite scenes is the God scene, when a bunch of them receive their new weapons and an amusing exchange unfolds. It's an overall fun book. The characters. Jay, the chicken. Hey, I don't mean to disrespect his equal self. He made the joke first, so yeah, he's going to be a chicken now. The disrespect is in the actual book. They called him Jeff of all names. No offense to the Jeffs out there, but this guy is the unluckiest person ever. Let me describe to you what a day in Jay's life is like. He wakes up in the morning, he's late to school, he forgets his lunch, he gets bored in class, he's got no friends, he falls asleep in the school cafeteria, he meets a stranger in his dream, he's chased after by the lunch guy who's also trying to stab him, he turns into an eagle and flees. He gets locked up in a zoo where he's granted the name Jeff, and finally he escapes. I'm not done. He goes home only to be shot by a random policeman, flees again, hits his eagle head to the trunk of a tree, finds himself in a stranger's house, the same stranger he'd seen in his dream, and also the same one that introduces himself as a representative of Athena and tells Jay he's that of motherfucking Zeus. Worst day ever! And this is just like the first 5 chapters? I don't know about Jay, but I'm exhausted already. Xavier, the intruder. This little guy doesn't show up to your window so he can creepily lurk there. No. He shows up in your dreams. He manipulates your mind. This kid is dangerous! And this is what makes him the coolest. Sorry, Jay, but Xavier is the real main character here. I mean, he eventually turned it to a human lamp and I was like, hell yeah! Time to shine, my boy! Except, right after that, he died. Because of course he did. He was my favorite, so he had to perish. Damn you authors. I'll undamn this author though because Xavier does come back. I usually loathe the resurrection thingy, but this is Xavier. Kylie, the human GPS. She's the Katniss of the group, being all cool and shit with her arrows, but surprisingly she doesn't use them all that much. She just yells at Jay to do something, Jay! Whenever they're in trouble. And the rest of the time, she tracks the sword. Somehow. Not sure how it works, but I bet if I asked her, she would pierce me with an arrow. Girl's got some attitude, while also being boring, somehow. Alexis Kiravno, the sad pin. First of all, damn you again for this name. But also, a sword can have a tragic backstory? Yes, apparently. It is after all tragic to be yeeted out from the window of a god's house to stupid Earth of all places. That's actually sad. But we like swords here on Earth, especially depressed ones disguised as pins and that are able to talk inside your head. You go, Alex. You don't need Zeus in your sword life. You deserve better. Sam, the screaming plant. Very loud, as you might guess. And so annoying. Ever wanted to continuously slap a character? Sam is like that. He just kept coming back, chasing these kids, and for what? For nothing. He literally said it himself. I don't know why I'm doing this, TBH. I was just told to do it, so I'm doing it. Stupid bit, Andrew, the keeper of snacks. Given his noble title, you might believe he's not important to the story. But hey, he fought a minotaur. Other than that, yeah, he was pretty useless. But he gave Pop-Tarts to the kids. I don't know what those are. The Pop-Tarts, that is, not the kids. Who came up with this abomination? What I'm trying to say is, Jay struggling to choose between brownies and cheese balls sounded more interesting than Andrew's backstory. Wait, what was that rude? The gods. Hades, king of the underworld. He wasn't the fabulous star I know him to be, but still. I stan. Give me more Hades. Zeus, king of assholes. This is the most insufferable god by far, but he's got this reputation already, so I feel like I don't need to explain. In this book, Zeus is a jerk to everybody and is lazy as f. In order to avoid a war between gods, he doesn't tell the others about the whole Orphée ordeal and instead trusts the fate of the world with a bunch of teenagers. Seriously, you're a literal god. Move your butt! Poseidon, king of bonk. He gave Zeus a well-deserved bonk on the head with his trident, and just for this, I stand. Orphée, king of drummer kings. All this guy had to do to save his lover was to walk straight ahead without looking back. Next thing he does is looking back. Dude, you had one job! Hades tells him he messed up and kicks him out of the underworld. I stand. So naturally, Orphée decides the world has to pay. That is until a kid faces him and tells him to stop being evil, and Orphée pauses and says, But I just wanted to help the humans by destroying death. I'm making you all immortal. I'm not bad. Where's the guy who tried to stab a 13-year-old 20 chapters ago? You'll notice there's a lack of crowns for a book called The Crown of Death, but this is only the first book of what I assume is going to be a trilogy, so I'll update y'all on the crown situation. We still have a couple kidnapped gods to help out too, so yeah, this is not the end of the story. I'm excited for more Jeff the Chicken adventures. By the way, if you're an author and you have a book ready, send it my way. I don't know if you've noticed by now, but I kinda like books, and I love making fun of them. So if you want a personalized parody too, my links are in the description. In the meantime, one like on this video equals one bonk to Zeus, and a subscribe is kicking him out of a window. See ya!